Don't go anywhere as we bring you news on the fragile tensions between U.S. and Iran ceasefire as continuing pressure threatens to break the deal.
Also, how the Steel City is gearing up for the surge of fans as the NFL draft approaches.
And the critical moments to come as a journey to the moon reaches its end here on RMU Live.
Good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in to RMU Live.
Today is April 10th. I'm Owen McLaren.
And I'm Isabella Harris.
Both U.S. President Donald Trump and leaders in Iran have portrayed the last-minute ceasefire deal as a victory for their nations. President Trump says the U.S. will work with Iran to dig up and remove buried uranium. Trump also suggested the U.S. may be involved in securing the Strait of Hormuz in a, quote, joint venture with Iran, but it's unclear if Tehran is open to that plan. Ivan Rodriguez has the latest.
The ceasefire deal between Iran and the U.S., struck less than 2 hours before President Donald Trump's deadline, is now in place. But the temporary agreement is fragile. Wednesday morning, Secretary Pete Hegseth and the chairman of the U.S. Joint Chiefs of Staff cautiously welcomed the planned 2-week pause.
We hope that Iran chooses a lasting peace. But as Secretary Hegseth said, let us be clear, a ceasefire is a pause, and the joint force remains ready if ordered or called upon to resume combat operations.
The ceasefire may leave Tehran in effective control of the world's most important maritime choke point, the Strait of Hormuz. The continued control over the strait and Iran's potential charging of tolls for passage would mark a dramatic break from the international maritime order, giving Tehran effective veto power over what passes through, from food imports to oil and gas exports from its Arab neighbors.
We're in a worse position than we were before the war. The Strait of Hormuz was open. There's like 500 oil tankers waiting to get through. And Iran has essentially shut it down.
Pakistan has emerged as a key mediator between the U.S. and Iran in recent weeks, with the country's prime minister inviting delegations from both countries to Islamabad for talks Friday. Pakistan's ambassador to the U.S. says success of this process lies in secrecy.
The conflicting parties need to be afforded enough space void of any pressures, outside exogenous pressures.
I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
Many Democrats have talked about removing President Trump after his recent comments about wiping out, quote unquote, a whole civilization, referring to Iran. Democrats have recognized that although the opportunity to impeach is low, they are pushing Republicans to pass legislation to limit the power that the president has carrying out attacks. Here's what U.S. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries has to say.
Upon our return, we will force another vote on the House floor around the War Powers Resolution that will compel the Trump administration to cease military hostilities immediately.
Many Americans and representatives are pushing for the Trump administration to testify about the war and justify it as well, and hoping this ceasefire will give them an opportunity to hear why the administration is doing this.
In a rare public statement, First Lady Melania Trump talked about her thoughts and relationship with the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Here's what the First Lady had to say.
The lies linking me with the disgraceful Jeffrey Epstein need to end today. I never been friends with Epstein. I call on Congress to provide the women who have been victimized by Epstein with a public hearing specifically centered around the survivors.
The First Lady's speech was very brief and wanted to now focus on the survivors of Epstein instead of the lies and rumors. Representative Nancy Mace thanked the First Lady on X, agreeing with her call for a public hearing, survivors of the Epstein. however, dismissed the speech, saying in a statement, quote, First Lady Melania Trump is now shifting the burden onto survivors under politicized conditions, that to protect those with power, end quote.
Pope Leo XIV may be avoiding a visit to the United States amid growing tensions with the Trump administration. Reports say the Pope has already declined an invitation to attend America's 250th Independence Day celebration. The decision comes after increasingly strained relations following remarks from the Pope emphasizing international law and peace instead of traveling to the U.S. The Pope is expected to visit Lampedusa, a symbolic location tied to the global migration crisis. While U.S. officials have downplayed the conflict, the situation highlights a rare moment of tension between the Vatican and an American president.
A 12,000 square foot interactive space called Steelers Country will be opening at Point State Park as a part of the 2026 NFL Draft. The space, according to officials, will include a bar, fan cave, yard games, and the display of the 6 Lombardi trophies and the rings that the Steelers have won. Dan Rooney, the vice president of strategy for the Pittsburgh Steelers, said, quote, We wanted to create a dedicated space for our fans to gather, celebrate our traditions, and enjoy a memorable draft experience together, end quote. The space will officially open on April 23rd with a ribbon-cutting ceremony the day before.
Pittsburgh is getting ready to turn the NFL Draft into a full-on citywide celebration. Pittsburgh will be a series of events happening throughout downtown during Draft Week. This is designed to showcase the city's culture, music, and local businesses. One highlight, the Pittsburgh Music Crawl, will bring live performances to bars, restaurants, and venues across the city. Meanwhile, Market Square will serve as a central hub for the festivities, featuring live entertainment, interactive activities, and even a Steelers-themed bar experience. With hundreds of thousands expected to visit for the draft, city leaders say this is a once-in-a-generation opportunity to highlight everything Pittsburgh has to offer.
Some of Pittsburgh's biggest companies are making a major change ahead of the NFL Draft. Several large employers downtown, like PNC, Highmark, and PPG, are shifting voters to remote schedules during the draft week to avoid traffic, road closures, and parking challenges. Business leaders say that the decision is meant to reduce congestion and keep operations running smoothly, while the city hosts one of its biggest events of the year. Despite the excitement, some companies say the logistical challenges, from detours to limited parking, make remote work the most practical option during the draft. As Pittsburgh Public Schools look to turn those empty lots into parking, safety is also a center stage across the city. Pennsylvania State Police say they are rolling out an extensive multi-layered security plan for the NFL Draft, covering land, water, and even the air. The draft will be split between 2 main zones, outside Acrisure Stadium and at Point State Park. With different agencies coordinating coverage across each location, officials say that there had been more than 1 year in the making, with state, local, and federal agencies teaming up to prepare for the potential risks and massive crowd that they might expect. Security as well, with checkpoints, road closures, and even restrictions on boats and drones in the area.
With warm temperatures back and it's starting to feel like spring, let's send it on over to our very own Lex Stricker for the latest weather.
Thanks, guys. I'll be your weather woman today, and we will be seeing some warm temperatures this week. And speaking of warm weather, March has been reported to break the record of the hottest month in the U.S. Taking a look at today's forecast, we're going to see a high of 77 degrees, a low of 40 degrees, and 63% chance of precipitation. And then looking into the hourly at 4 p.m., it's going to be partially cloudy, 65 degrees, and then at 5 p.m. we're going to see rain showers move into the evening, and the temperature is going to drop from 67 degrees down to 61 degrees. And on to tomorrow's forecast, we're going to see a high of 61 degrees, a low of 40 degrees, and an 8% chance of precipitation. Stay tuned later for the 5-day forecast. Back to the...
You know, Owen, I can't complain. It's been pretty comfortable out there, but I might want to keep my umbrella handy for later. Thanks, Lex.
Coming up next, how air travel is getting more expensive as another airline prices rise as summer vacations approach.
As well as a significant policy shift and the Pittsburgh officials reshape immigration enforcement in the city.
And from coordination to communication, how you can help teach kids what true sportsmanship
Honaker
is all
says
about.
parents can
After
help
this.
teach children good sport. Their actions can help.
Yo, Scott.
Hey.
I'm heading out, man. You want to ride?
No, I got my car, but I actually really need to go to the bathroom.
Oh, you know what? I was just in there. The line is like 10 people long.
You know, I think I'll just...
Dude, are you okay?
You wouldn't believe what I was just thinking. I am definitely buzzed.
Yeah.
I think I will take this, and I will take that ride home.
Smart man.
Did you see how that dog was looking at me?
Welcome back to RMU Live. Delta Airlines has now increased check bag fees for domestic and short-haul passengers. This comes after United and JetBlue also raised their fees last week due to the increased jet fuel prices tied to the war in the Middle East. Delta said in a statement, quote, "These updates are part of Delta's ongoing review for pricing across its business and reflect on the impact of the evolving global conditions and the industry dynamics," end quote. They mentioned that certain customers, including military personnel and members of loyalty programs, will still be giving their complimentary bags.
The Pittsburgh City Council has unanimously passed a bill banning cooperation with ICE officials. The new legislation stops employees or contractors from asking about someone's immigration status. It also bans action from law enforcement based on someone's immigration status. This comes after tension has grown in recent months due to controversial arrests and spreading protests across the city. A Pennsylvania State Police corporal has now pled guilty to creating AI-generated pornography, possessing child abuse, and stalking women. A 17-year-old girl is accused of stabbing her boyfriend to death in Harrisburg earlier this week. Officers were called to a reported stabbing incident 11 p.m. on Monday. They found 18-year-old Tamar Shaw stabbed in chest. He was eventually taken to the hospital but died to his injuries. 17-year-old Malaysia Shaw Terrell Brown was arrested for it on Wednesday after video evidence emerged of her threatening to kill Shaw. Terrell Brown is due back in court for her preliminary arraignment later this month.
It's a viral sleep habit popular on social media, bedtime stacking, has TikTokers carry out their pre-sleep routines in bed. Everything from reading to snacking, even skincare. But experts say parts of this might actually be a sabotage to your sleep in today's Health Minute.
Mandy Gaither explains why it could potentially lead to insomnia and what a doctor says will set you up for sleep success.
From the track to the ball field, sports provide much more than just physical activity.
It actually provides a safe space and environment for youth athletes.
Dr. Lindsay Honaker, a psychiatrist with Cleveland Clinic, says sports can help children's psychological well-being, communication skills, and character development, but it can also bring intense emotions for them to manage.
Sportsmanship, it certainly goes well beyond just playing the sport and athletics. It teaches our youth athletes life skills. It teaches the youth athlete compassion, empathy, respect for others.
Honaker says parents can help teach children good sportsmanship. Start by modeling the behavior you'd like to see with a positive attitude. Show them how to win gracefully without being overly boastful and accept defeat with dignity.
When you're in the sidelines, make sure as a parent that you aren't yelling or criticizing any of the athletes, whether it's on, your child's team or the opponent's team.
Next, offer support and respect to coaches and your child. Honaker says that if your athlete is upset after a game, talk to them about it in private.
It's important to kind of get to the root cause and make sure we're not missing anything, but definitely try to understand their feelings and where they're coming from.
Finally, highlight an admired athlete or mentor who has good sportsmanship. Honaker says their actions can help young athletes aspire to that behavior. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Dr. Chen says the best ways to get good sleep are to focus on maintaining a sleep schedule.
Go to bed and wake up around the same time every day, including weekends, and have good sleep hygiene, things to avoid like caffeine, big meals, and alcohol before bed.
Still ahead, why America's most popular sports league is facing federal scrutiny as an investigation begins.
As well as the busy week of games of the RMU softball team had this week. They set the stage for the next series.
And with a new season comes new uniforms, as the Pittsburgh Pirates are bringing their latest redesign to the field, so stay tuned.
You told me not to talk to strangers. You told me not to cross the street without looking both ways.
You told me not to touch the stove.
You told me not to do drugs.
You told me not to drink and drive.
You gave me so many messages about how to stay safe. Why didn't you keep me safe by properly storing your gun?
When I was your age, I was just like you, fascinated by stars. But now I get to search for life in the universe. And who knows, maybe life is looking for us too.
So we're like aliens to them?
Yeah. Does anyone want to be a scientist now?
I do.
Awesome. We need more girls in STEM.
Maybe we can find aliens.
Worried about your friend, but don't know how to reach out?
You could say how are you or get a fake tattoo. You can ask with an app if it works for you. You could chat with them in VR. It's so good. If you think you should check in, yeah, you should.
Whatever gets you talking. Reach out to a friend about their mental health. Whatever gets you talking. Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org.
Welcome back to RMU Live.
The Justice Department is now opening an investigation into the NFL. This comes amid scrutiny of the amount of money fans are paying to watch their games and the proper distribution of games across to markets. An official said this investigation is, quote, about affordability for consumers and creating an even playing field for providers, end quote. The NFL responded in a statement saying, quote, the NFL media distribution is a model for all sports and is broadcaster friendly in the entire sports and entertainment industry, end quote. The investigation is currently still ongoing.
Not only has the weather been heating up here, but so is sports. Josh Woodman has the latest RMU sports highlights and how Pittsburgh sports have been getting hotter this past week. Let's send it over.
Thanks, guys. My name's Josh Woodman, and it feels good to be back talking all things sports for the first time this year. And I'll start off with none other than the current powerhouse here at RMU, the softball team, even if they've hit a bump in recent weeks. Following a 2-1 series loss to Oakland 2 weeks ago, the Colonials look to get back on track, but were unable to do so against the now top-placed Youngstown last weekend. The Penguins took advantage of a collection of Colonial errors, and even though Courtney Pulich hit a last-gasp 3-run home run to tie the game at the bottom of the 7th, RMU would succumb to YSU in extra innings and fall in Game 1. Game 2 would provide similar drama as RMU would once again climbed past multiple deficits, with Marta Gulazzi hitting only her second ever career ball, taking it yard to give RMU the walk-off win in the 7th inning. Game 3 would not be a contest in the slightest, though, with Youngstown thrashing RMU 20-0. The Penguins found themselves up 11-0 in the first inning alone, while RMU's pitching struggled to contain YSU's explosive hitting. Like mentioned before, the win gives YSU the top spot in the Horizon League, while RMU will turn their attention to Northern Kentucky later today. The Norse have won once in their last 8 games, providing the chance for RMU to bounce back nicely both on the mound and behind home plate. The Colonials are currently in the midst of Game 1. Game 2 is scheduled for noon tomorrow, with Game 3 following thereafter. Now to maybe the team who's stolen softball's crown in men's lacrosse. The team is riding an 8-game high, most recently taking down VMI 20-8. So many players have been firing on all cylinders for the Colonials, a good feature to have before facing a rival. RMU will travel up I-75 to take on Mercyhurst on Saturday. The game is scheduled for 1 p.m. in Erie. On the other side, women's lacrosse snapped their 3-game losing streak, beating Kent State 8-5 last weekend in Ohio. The Colonials are back at the Joe this week for a bout with Akron on Saturday at 1, before then traveling cross town to face Pitt, who's currently ranked 24th in the nation in the latest coaches poll. The Colonials have never beat the Panthers, but will have the chance to pull up the upset on Wednesday at 6:30 in Pitt. The track and field team has begun a busy few days yesterday, competing in day 1 of the Northeast Ohio Open. They'll stay busy with that today before traveling to New Wilmington for the Westminster Invitational. Other parts of the team will be in Lewisburg for the Bison Outdoor Classic, also occurring tomorrow and will continue through Sunday. The weather has been getting nicer, which means rowing has seen a return to action. The team is currently competing in associate producer Trent's neck of the woods in Cherry Hill, New Jersey for the Connect Cup. They'll be in Virginia next weekend for the George Mason Invitational. Now over to Pittsburgh sports, with all 3 teams in the news. Besides the draft occurring in less than 2 weeks, the Pirates have been stealing the attention up the road in PNC Park. The Buccos opened their season with an exciting 5-4 win in series sweep against the Orioles last week, before the Padres came to town, beating the Pirates 2-1 in their series. Hometown kid Mason Miller, who came from my alma mater at Bethel Park, played his part, striking out 2 batters and solidifying their 8-2 win over the Pirates on Wednesday. Thankfully, the team was able to keep fan hype up with the announcement of their new City Connect jerseys. Their golden bolted letters with red editions have fans banging on the doors of the team store, both in person and online. Another reason for the hype has been the team's calling up of signing of Connor Griffin before the home opener. The 19-year-old has looked decent in his early outings, and the Pirates made sure to lock down one of their most promising prospects with a reported 9-year, $140 million deal. For more information, we'll hear from longtime Pirates reporter John Parado.
The reason the Pirates wanted to sign Connor Griffin to a 9-year, $140 million contract, which is certainly out of their normal realm, is because they believe that the 19-year-old shortstop truly has a chance to be a special player in the long run, that they would save money by paying him $140 million over 9 seasons, because he could become eligible for salary arbitration after 3 years, which would dramatically increase his salary from the minimum of around $800,000 now. And then he would have 3 years of free agency that they would buy out. He could become a free agent after his 6th year, but now that they have him for 9 years, that's 3 more years in which they have him under contract and won't have to worry about him hitting the free agent market and likely getting a mega deal from a richer franchise.
Thanks, John. To wrap it up, we'll head to the ice, where the Penguins have solidified their return to the Stanley Cup playoffs for the first time since the 2021 season. The Pens beat the New Jersey Devils 5-2 last night, clinching their spot. Currently, the Pens are in position to face state rivals Philadelphia in round 1. The battle for PA would be the first time the two foes met in the playoffs since 2018. First, though, the Penguins must face their other rival in Washington. Puck drop is scheduled for 3 p.m. both tomorrow and Sunday. The team will wrap up their regular season on Tuesday when they face St. Louis. That's all I have for you. Next week, Joey will be back, and I'll send it back to the desk.
Thanks, Josh. And we have an update about a softball game currently happening with RMU. They are down 7-2, but here's hoping for a dramatic comeback.
After this, Lex will be back to tell us all about the spring warmth that's coming up within the next weeks.
Also, the return to the moon coming to an end as the astronauts are officially getting ready to splash down.
And a rock legend who's turning up the volume and announcing his world tour and A Night of Steel. You won't want to miss it.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
There's so many rewards in life. You coming into our home was one of the greatest rewards we could have ever had.
You know, it took 20 years and I got my third child who was 17 at the time.
It's so cool to watch the adult that you've become, and you really have done as much for us as you think we've done for you.
Most of my family, they never graduated high school or even let alone go to college, so I'm trying to break that barrier. Every day after work, went straight to school, studied hard, and it paid off. I could not have done it alone. I see the future is really bright for me. The high school diploma is just added to the confidence, and now I feel unstoppable.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Welcome back to RMU Live.
Turning to weather now, the temps are really starting to go up this week. We're going to send it over to Lex to hear what's in store for the weather this week.
That's right, we will be seeing some warmer temperatures as the week continues. Starting on Sunday, it's going to be cloudy, 79 degrees and a low of 65 degrees. Then moving on to Monday and Tuesday, we're going to see rain showers. Monday with a high of 71 degrees, a low of 61 degrees. And then Tuesday, we'll have a high of 80 degrees, a low of 65 degrees. On Wednesday, we are going to see thunderstorms, and there's going to be a high of 82 degrees, a low of 64 degrees. And then on to Thursday, it's going to be partially cloudy, and our hottest temperature with a high of 83 degrees and a low of 59 degrees. Back to the desk.
Thanks, Lex. Let's hope that rain doesn't ignite all of that pollen. It will certainly flare up my allergies.
Rock legend Billy Idol is heading to our area this summer. The iconic singer is bringing its Nice to Meet You Again tour to the Western Pennsylvania as a stop at the Pavilion at Star Lake on August 20th. Pre-sale tickets are set to begin on Thursday at noon, with general ticket sales opening shortly after. Idol, known for his hits like Rebel Yell and White Wedding, is one of the several major artists scheduled to perform at Star Lake this concert season. If you're hoping to catch the show, you'll want to act fast as tickets are expected to go very quickly.
After a historic journey, the Artemis II spacecraft is set to make a splashdown back on Earth. Here is the latest about the historic spacecraft from Mary Bell Gonzalez.
It is the thrill and honor of a lifetime to have been on this journey.
For 10 days, NASA's Victor Glover, Reed Wiseman, Christina Cook, and Canadian Space Agency astronaut Jeremy Hansen lived inside the Camper Van Size Orion crew capsule.
Wow, we have loved living in Orion.
Today, they return to Earth after completing a figure-8 path around the moon, the capsule using the moon's gravity to help slingshot itself back home.
Orion slows to under 20 miles per hour, gentle enough for a safe splashdown into the ocean.
This mission represents the first time astronauts, including a black man, a woman, and a Canadian, have ventured this far into space, seeing the far side of the moon for the first time.
You really felt like you weren't in a capsule. You'd been transported to the far side of the moon, and it really just bent your mind. It was an extraordinary human experience.
Achieving that milestone meant the crew experienced a planned 40-minute communication blackout while passing behind the moon, something they describe as surreal.
And we took about 3 or 4 minutes just as a crew to really reflect on where we were, and then it was right back into the science. And it is a surreal feeling.
Artemis II sets in motion a long-term plan to return humans to the moon and eventually establish a lunar settlement.
Thank you for taking us with you to the moon.
In San Diego, I'm Maribel Gonzalez reporting.
Thanks, Maribel. They are expected to splash down in the Pacific near San Diego a little after 8 p.m. Eastern Time.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning into RMU Live.
We hope you have a great week ahead.